Coming up next, it's Feedback Friday, where we look at your comments on our episodes of last week, and you had a lot to say about the WWE Draft and the top guys in the past who have made stars out of some of the younger talents. We'll talk about that and a lot more right here on Feedback Friday for Friday, July 29th, 2016. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Feedback Friday. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. And David, what an amazing week it has been in the world of professional wrestling, coming from Battleground this past Sunday on WWE Network, to Raw on Monday, to SmackDown on Tuesday, to NXT on Wednesday, to TNA on Thursday, and now here on Friday, Feedback Friday.
It's like 5 straight days of shenanigans.
Yes, indeed.
And you've got to love that.
I love shenanigans. You can't go wrong with shenanigans.
No, not at all. But what a great Battleground.
Okay.
The main event was great.
Okay, we'll talk about Battleground in depthly tomorrow night on prime time.
Fine.
Because, well, this show is the fan show. It's all of the people you love.
Because I never get to see what you're going to say before they say it.
It's better that way. As we talked about last week, if you could keep interns, then we wouldn't have a problem. They could show you.
Wow.
But they all keep quitting.
Well, they're not worth what we're paying them.
They feel uncomfortable around you.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Folks, last Friday on this very program, we analyzed the Raw and SmackDown rosters, and this guy, David, found it difficult to comprehend the early pick of Charlotte by the Raw team. This, as he always tends to do, stirred up a bit of controversy, and we fielded a lot of comments from you, so let's share a few right now. So listen carefully, David, because very first comment comes from Ryan Dempsey, who said, and I quote, "I agree with Hero. It's not that Charlotte isn't a great talent, but when she was picked so early on in the draft, it did lose credibility. Just my opinion, but I'd rather have both brands pick some main events, butts and seats headliners before rounding out their respective rosters." And he goes on to say that Saxton does remind me of Nelson, and I watch Raw and think maybe someday we'll see Nelson take his spot.
I wish he would take his spot. I think that would be great.
Here's the
because
thing.
then I'd always have amazing seats to those shows.
But here's the thing. I don't like working for anyone else, so
okay. You know,
I wouldn't do well in that environment.
Can we talk about Charlotte?
Yeah, we sure should.
Number 2 pick overall in Raw.
Yes, she was.
What happened Monday night?
She lost the championship.
Exactly. Wasted pick. Terrible.
They got the championship on the brand, though.
It doesn't matter. You pick someone number 2 because that person is a stud. It's one that can take the ball and run with it, and she tripped over the goal line.
Another comment from Logan Rodzen saying, "I didn't look at them drafting Charlotte early as a bad thing. Raw took Rollins because they expect him to be a WWE champion or be WWE champion, and took Charlotte because they wanted the women's championship on Raw as well." As I said,
that does not work for me. You know why it does not work for me?
Oprah says that.
Because Seth Rollins did not win the championship, and what did they do? They created one for him. They easily could have done that with the women's title.
You know, was it the last or first brand split when Triple H was granted the championship by Eric Bischoff?
Yes.
And they created the second championship?
Yes, they gave it to him.
Finally, on this subject, a YouTube user by the name of The Variety Vendor. Think they work at a gimmick table somewhere? Variety Vendor. Yeah. Chimed in saying, and I quote, "I have to disagree. Charlotte being picked is huge. Not for women in WWE, but all females, thriving to reach the best in sports entertainment. For many years, we had to sit through talentless eye candy who were only using wrestling as a stepping stone to pursue other ventures. Finally, the fans of the sport can actually appreciate the hard work and effort instead of taking a bathroom break. There will be a day where we see a women's rumble, a woman's Money in the Bank, and at the end of the day, the nature girl being picked so high is the start of a much bigger and better future. Must appreciate your work, guys, and here's to 18 more years." Thanks for that comment from the Variety Vendor.
They did. It was called Glow.
Oh, Big Bad Mama.
And then they have Shimmer, and then they have Shine. There's other women's entities out there.
Forget POW. Power for Women of Wrestling, which never worked.
No.
Power for Women of Wrestling, POWW.
Yeah, that's kind of odd, isn't it?
They called it.
I mean, I'm not saying that they don't have their place. They absolutely do. And for saying that the eye candy, well, they hired the eye candy and made them into wrestlers. You know why they did? Because they didn't want the fabulous mullahs anymore in wrestling.
Nor did the fans.
So that's why they had that. That's why they hired the bikini models to be pro wrestlers. And how many of them really use that as a stepping stone? Stacy Keibler? Maybe. That's really about it.
Well, but I don't think you can argue, and it's not their fault. It was a job for them.
Of course it was.
They weren't wrestlers.
Hey,
they were
we're going to give you
divas.
6 figures to go out there and bump around, you know.
Jiggle your biddies?
Yeah. And we'll put you on the cover of magazines, and you'll get action figures and be in video games. Who's going to say no to that?
All right, so I think you've segmentally, if that's a word, addressed the Charlotte situation. So to put this to bed,
it was a terrible pick at number 2. Terrible.
And then she loses on Monday. But
Yeah.
what are you saying about Charlotte, the talent? Because I think people are hearing you say something bad about Charlotte, the talent.
No, I think if I'm drafted, this is going to come across as being completely inappropriate. But
You're still going to say it.
I'm still going to say it. If I'm drafting a fantasy football team, Charlotte's like the punter or the kicker. She's one of my last picks. I'm going to get the quarterback, the tight end, the running backs, everything else that's going to score me lots of points first. It's the truth.
But what are you saying about Charlotte as a talent?
She's an amazing talent. She's not a top 2 pick. She's not a top 5 pick. What?
It's fascinating, especially after the Double D yesterday. I've given you every opportunity here to clean up your comment about Charlotte and give her some credit. Yet
I said she's a fantastic talent.
Buried within, but she's not a number 2 pick.
She's not a number 2 pick.
That wasn't the question.
You take her over Brock Lesnar?
The question
Do you
was
take
about
her over
her
Brock
talent.
Lesnar?
The question was about her talent. The question was about Charlotte, the performer, the former
She's
women's
fantastic,
champion.
but she's not
See,
better
there
than
you
Brock
go,
Lesnar.
bud. Folks, thanks for those comments. We have many more. And when we come back here on Feedback Friday.
As you know, PWR is a proud partner of the revolutionary FITE. That's FITE TV app, which is available for free on the iTunes and Google Play Store. And we are pleased to announce an exciting change to our programming. PWR Feedback Fridays can now be seen as a featured scheduled content on its very own channel on FITE every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. PWR Primetime is also now a featured scheduled program premiering every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern as well. Don't wait to download the free FITE TV app, which also features Ring of Honor Wrestling Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, right before Raw, and much more.
Welcome back, fans, to the Pro Wrestling Report Feedback Friday here for Friday, July 29th, 2016. Coming up on the end of July, David Hero, and just a couple of weeks away
Where
from
did this summer
SummerSlam.
go?
Well, it has flown by. It really has.
It's insane.
It is.
You know, your buddy, intern Cal,
Yeah?
starts football practice.
Mr. Money in the Bank?
Yeah.
Football practice.
Yeah.
What position does he play? We just saw him
He
in
wants to be a linebacker.
the Fight TV promo.
Yeah.
Linebacker. Awesome. Fantastic.
He wants to hit people.
Well, folks, last week on Feedback Friday, we also talked about, well, you posed the question, actually, did David Hero, of who was the last top star who consistently put over young, new talent, giving praise to John Cena as he deserves. He actually did it again this past week on SmackDown. Well, a YouTube user by the name of Harvey Dent had a, is that from a movie?
Yes.
Batman's, right?
Two-Face.
Is it Harvey Dent or Harry Dent?
Harvey Dent.
Harvey Dent. So that's him.
I believe in Harvey Dent.
So Two-Face watches the show. Which one?
Yes. The right side.
Is that the good or the bad side?
The
Gotta
right
flip
side.
a coin?
The right side's a good side.
Harvey Dent said this. He had a question, rather, regarding the comment saying, and I quote, "Didn't Hogan put over talent in WCW when he was leader of the NWO, Hollywood Hulk Hogan? He lost a lot of matches there."
I wouldn't say it was younger talent. It's not like he was putting over Eddie Guerrero or Chris Benoit or guys like that. I mean, he was putting over his buddies. I think the last one that's ever really put over some young talent, you got to say, is Triple H.
Well, I mean, didn't Goldberg beat Hogan in the Georgia Dome for the championship?
Yeah, but Hogan got 40% of the gate. I'll lay down for anybody for 40% of the gate.
Including Charlotte?
Yeah, but only she's number 2 pick. If she's not number 2, forget it.
On that same subject, YouTube user Trey Williams said, and I quote, "Damian, you said the guys that David mentioned on who has put over newer, younger talent, one of them being The Rock. I want to ask you, did he not put over guys like Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle in his first run, and Chris Jericho, but reached the upper card once he became the undisputed champion," referring to Jericho and The Rock putting those people over? We also, I'm
The Rock
lost
put
here.
over guys
That's
when he was
a whole
leaving.
different comment, yes.
Whenever he was leaving, he put guys over.
Brock Lesnar being the huge notable one when Rock was booed out of the building in 2002, and Brock
But
became,
that's because they knew Rock was going to Hollywood.
he had sold out.
Yes.
And now he's the highest paid actor
And now they
in
love him even
Hollywood.
more.
Yes. So, The Rock did it. Arguably, Hogan did it.
But no one's done it
Cena's
as often
done it.
as Cena.
Did Hogan, in his WWE time, do it aside from WrestleMania? Oh, no, he walked out with the title at WrestleMania 9.
Yeah. No, John Cena's the guy that has made far.
Flair? Did Flair ever do it?
No,
I don't think he.
not
I don't
really.
think he was ever not doing it.
Here's
You know
the
what I
thing,
mean?
John Cena, by saying John Cena puts guys over, doesn't mean he let them beat them. He would elevate them where people would believe he belongs in the ring with them at the same time.
Kevin Owens a great example.
Kevin Owens, he did great things with Sami Zayn when Sami
Absolutely.
Zayn got hurt. There's been a bunch of the NXT kid when he had the U.S. title open challenge.
Yeah.
He elevated a lot of people.
Absolutely. Week after week after damned week. Thank you for that comment. And we also asked last week, or I did anyways, if the Zack Ryder push, along with Darren Young, was temporary, which prompted this comment from the Emo Emu.
Bless his heart.
And I quote, "They've been testing Zack. They've given him a few unexpected wins to see if the audience loves it. If they like the results, then they'll push him. If people weren't loud enough, then he'll be jobbing even after the brand split. They've been testing a lot of the guys like this leading up to the split. Whenever there's a promo and someone goes through a short list of names with an ample pause for cheering after each, that's because they want to test them against each other. The people who get the reaction then gets a few wins, and it keeps building." I think he's trying to explain to us how it works.
I wish he would start over because I'm completely lost.
It seems like the point he's making is that, yes, they were testing Zack Ryder and Darren Young, but also many other
They
talents.
tested Zack Ryder when he wasn't on TV for the last year and a half. Then he went down to NXT. He helped Mojo Rawley become more of a star. He's now being rewarded for going to NXT to work with the younger guys to help improve Mojo Rawley as the hype bros. Now it's like, hey, you know what? You did that. You were a team player. We're going to give you a push. That's what it is. A lot of guys get cheered when their names are mentioned. Doesn't mean they're going to use them.
Remember Zack Ryder's last push, which was based off of his internet YouTube show?
Yeah, it was in a wheelchair down a ramp by Eve, wasn't it, or somebody?
It was Eve. Absolutely, it was. It was her and Kane had
Once
relations,
again,
if you
what
will.
is the downfall for every successful guy? A pretty girl.
Well, not every.
That's what happened to Zack Ryder.
Folks, thank you for all those comments. And remember, in order to have your comment considered to be on the show, all you need to do is comment on our YouTube channel or head on over to Twitter. David Hero, last night on Battle of the Brands, brand new show, we shared some of your Twitter comments about the competition between Raw and SmackDown. And some of those comments could also end up making it here on Feedback Friday. So the conversation does continue tomorrow night on Prime Time, when we've got a lot to talk about, David Hero, including Battleground from last Sunday and that several great matches and a couple of questionable ones on that show and a big debut as well. Also, the in-depth look at the very active Raw and the not as active SmackDown from this past week, and hot news including WWE finally speaking out about what they are going to or not going to do to Brock Lesnar. Now, all that happens tomorrow at prime time at 10 o'clock p.m. Central, right here on YouTube. Actually shows up at 8 o'clock on Fight TV and also on My 24 Milwaukee. So until then, for that one, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow night on Prime Time.